If you look successful but constantly worry about money, this video is about you. Most people you think are doing well financially are actually one emergency away from financial collapse.
You see them in a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning, expensive laptop, nice clothes, ordering a 12 coffee without blinking. But behind that image, their credit cards are maxed out. Their bank account is days from overdrafting, and they're quietly panicking. Teresa's a name for this, and it explains why an entire generation feels broke despite doing everything right. You're just one unexpected car repair away from a total collapse. So how in the world do we get here? How did an entire generation end up in this position? Well, the most important thing to understand is that this isn't about people being irresponsible. It's about a massive shift in the economy. A whole generation did exactly what they were told to do, only to find out the rules of the game had been completely changed on them. So let's break it down. There are three huge economic hurdles that have basically rigged the game: housing, debt, and the whole nature of what a job even is anymore. Okay, first up, housing. Back in 1984, the median home cost about 4 times the median income. Manageable, right? Well, today, that number has shot up to 6 times the median income. And this right here shows you the problem perfectly. The goalposts haven't just moved, they've been launched into orbit. Now, think about the psychology of that. When a goal like buying a house feels mathematically impossible, your behavior starts to change. It leads to something called doom spending. And it's not because people are bad with money. It's because it feels more rational to get some small joy right now than to save for a dream that feels like it's never, ever gonna happen. All right, let's look at the second hurdle because it just piles on. Student debt. We're talking about nearly 19 million millennials carrying an average balance of over $40,000. That isn't just a bill you pay every month. It's a giant financial anchor chained to your leg. And that anchor creates this massive domino effect. It pushes back every single major life event that past generations just took for granted. Buying a home, starting a family, launching a business. All of it gets put on the back burner, sometimes forever, because you're still paying for the education that was supposed to be your ticket to success. And hurdle number 3 is the paycheck itself. You know, that old promise of a stable, salaried career with good benefits? It's fading fast. Almost 3/4 of younger workers are now earning their living through non-salaried jobs. Think gig work, contracts, hourly pay. This creates this constant state of financial anxiety, making it almost impossible to plan for the future. I mean, seriously, how are you supposed to sign a 30-year mortgage when you have no idea what your income is going to look like next month? So you've got these insane hurdles in place. Let's talk about the consequences.
I used to think a higher income meant stability. But the more I looked into this, the more I realized that promise doesn't really work anymore. And that explains a lot of the stress people feel.
And this is where it gets really mind-blowing. Because even the people who somehow manage to clear all those hurdles and land a high-paying job, they're finding out it's not the golden ticket they thought it would be. Get this, nearly 2/3, 64% of people earning 6 figures a year say their income feels like the bare minimum they need just to stay afloat. Just let that sink in for a second. An income that used to be a clear sign of success now feels like just barely enough to survive. This quote just says it all. It captures that feeling of the illusion of affluence. You look great on paper, you have a good salary, but in reality, after you pay for housing, healthcare, and childcare, you're living with this constant, crushing financial stress. You're making too much to get any help, but not nearly enough to actually get ahead. And all of this is happening while there's this gigantic generational wealth gap. Baby boomers are sitting on $82 trillion in wealth. That is 4 times what millennials have managed to build. So when a house goes up for sale, younger people aren't just competing with each other, they're trying to outbid people who can just walk in and pay with cash. The whole market has become a rigged casino. And the desperation to just get a foot in the door is, well, it's gotten kind of absurd. I mean, look at what people are willing to put up with. A fixer-upper they have no money to actually fix, a house right next to a cemetery, or even a place with known asbestos issues. These aren't just quirky lifestyle choices. This is a sign of a generation whose dreams have been systematically downsized. So let's just be crystal clear about this. This has nothing to do with avocado toast or buying too many lattes. This is a systemic breakdown. And the whole narrative about individual financial failure is just a convenient distraction from a much bigger, much more uncomfortable truth. You know, for way too long, the financial world has been basically gaslighting an entire generation with advice that's completely out of date. Telling someone who is drowning in debt to just open a high-yield savings account, it's not just unhelpful, it's totally disconnected from a reality where wages have stayed flat while the cost of literally everything important has exploded. Someone in our source material actually called it the perfect crime. Step 1. You make the absolute pillars of a stable life, housing, education, healthcare, so expensive that most people can't afford them. Step 2. You make sure their paychecks don't keep up. And then, step 3, the final move, you masterfully shift all the blame onto the individual and criticize their spending habits. So here's the bottom line. This quietly broke phenomenon, it's not some temporary bug in the system. It's the new operating system. It has become a feature of our economy. And honestly, it's just a preview of what's coming for Gen Z, who are walking into an even tougher economic world. And that leaves us with one final big question. We know for a fact that the old rules of money and success just don't apply anymore. So is the American dream completely broken? Or is this generation being forced out of sheer necessity to rebuild it into something else entirely?
If doing everything right still doesn't lead to security, maybe the problem isn't personal failure. Maybe the system itself has changed. Just realizing that can shift how you see all of this.